Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes commentary. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing as it helps out the channel, and give this video a like if you do like it. So this is a commentary for The Early Worm Gets the Bird, released in 1940. It's the 272nd in the series, and it's directed by Tex Avery. And you can find this on the Golden Age of Looney Tunes Volume 3 Laserdisc. And just a word of warning that this does contain racial stereotypes of African Americans. And you can see right here, this is a cartoon version of a cotton field, so you know that, yeah, we're in for some interesting viewing here, right down to the fact that the birds are known as, well, they use blackbirds, so yeah. So yeah, you can imagine this will not be on HBO Max anytime soon. I mean, I'm sure when it's restored, because as I understand it, even these ones are getting restored, but they're just not getting released. I'm sure it'll look good, but yeah. So we got, I believe, Sarah Berner doing the voice of the Mammy character. And despite the stereotype accent that she's doing, you know, it just shows how versatile she really was in doing the different voices. And we have Mel Blanc doing this bird here, and, well, you know, once again, a stereotype voice, but still pretty good acting. And as you can see in the book, I mean, that's where the titles come from. You know, the title, of course, is The Early Worm Gets the Bird, but we all know the saying is The Early Bird Gets the Worm. And so, essentially, this is very similar to the Sneezing Weasel, and, you know, and this is actually also the first cartoon since Dangerous Dan McPhoo, which has an actual narrative rather than a spot gag scenario. And, you know, he did like 4 in a row, the spot gags one, which were funny. I thought they were pretty good. But it seemed to me that now he's gone back into the narrative and he seems a bit, I don't know, rusty. I don't know. I mean, stereotypes aside, this one is definitely one of the weaker Tex efforts. And it's like he almost forgot how to do a narrative cartoon because he was just so focused on doing a spot gag cartoon, and this also comes across as his heart just not really being in it for some odd reason. Thankfully, though, after this one, there are plenty more bright spots to come for Tex, so, and, you know, they can't all be winners, I guess, so, now I do like the gag with the clock, of course, where, you know, it wakes up this bird, and instead of the alarm going off, the bird just tells it to be quiet. But I have to say, shots like this would look really, really magnificent restored. So I would definitely, if given a chance, I would definitely want to see this one just for the visuals. But it's definitely not enjoyable. Now, thankfully, once this bird actually gets out of the house and actually goes after the worm, it gets a little bit better. You know, and we'll see a typical gag that Tex would keep doing until he ends up pretty much perfecting it, which is, you can see right here, with the character, you know, falling down, and then, yeah, just stopping. So, I mean, you've seen that before, right? In, you know, Tex's final Bugs Bunny cartoon. But why is a hound dog? I don't know, But here's a Tex Avery, an Averyism, if you want to call it, with, you know, the worm reading this very story that this cartoon, of course, is part of. But one thing I did notice is, now, Bugs Bunny, of course, the first appearance in The Wild Hare comes out later on in 1940, but there's a lot here that I guess Tex would end up doing for Wild Hare, like not lifting gags one for one per se, but just more just the dynamic between, you know, a hunter and a predator. So a hunter and and of course the prey. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about here. Maybe I'm just not as excited about this particular cartoon as many people are, but you know, it's got some pretty good acting in here. In terms of animation, but again, it's hard to really enjoy it given the stereotype. Now, that sucker gag, we all know that Tex would reuse that later on especially like in all this and Rabbit Stew, which I would say is far worse than this. Here, it's mainly the birds the birds just speaking in that stereotype accent and acting like what a lot of white folk in Hollywood would believe people of color were. It would either be that they're in a plantation, or they were just living in the city, similar to Clean Pastures. I do like this the villain, as if you didn't know. So at least there's a few bright spots in here. This fox is voiced by Mel as well. And there's even one bit where, the gag didn't quite work for me, but it's still pretty nicely animated. Just like here, Mel's delivery is pretty good. And just the reaction of the fox here is pretty good too. So, but yeah, what do you guys think of this one? It's not part of the Censored 11 because this wasn't part of that distribution package where they took out those 11 cartoons, hence the Censored 11. But was this ever shown on TV where you were? Because I am definitely curious to see whether this was shown. Maybe it was given a pass because it wasn't an outright, African stereotype, that you would see in like the Censored 11 cartoons, where here was just black birds that happen to have the same type of hair, even though I know birds don't have hair, but I'm sure you get what I mean. But yeah, definitely let me know, because I'm definitely curious. And this even has the stereotypes of the cornfield. It even has the Swanee River song in the beginning and end. It's sort of like a romanticized version of the South, which if you look into it further, it's not quite as good as the romanticized versions would have you believe from the Hollywood production of the period. But anyway, but I gotta do all these ones, good or bad, and yeah, I still think this one, along with all the cartoons, still need to be restored, at least for preservation purposes. But here's the gag I was talking about, where he believes he's bleeding, and it just, I don't know, it feels a little bit out of place. I don't know, and then you see the bee, where it's like Tex thought he had to address the bee being in it, but you didn't really need it. Like, you could have ended the cartoon pretty much here, but then again, you get an interesting gag at the end with the bed here. But yeah, you definitely didn't need the bee, in my opinion. But the worm will appear at the end, and the worm will say something, and then I think he realizes, uh-oh, I'm pretty much dead. Pretty much dead. So yeah, this is not the last stereotype cartoon I'm gonna do, but yeah, that's alright. We'll go do them all. I do like his face though, kind of cute. So anyway, that's it for this one. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what you thought, and until next time, see ya.